Remember, he knocked out David Peters in 10th place when his weaker ace got lucky, just like Levi's just did.
Roland DeWolf now the short stack.
You know that show where the donk wins all the pots? That's me.
It wasn't pretty, but Levi stays alive with an 8 on the flop for DeWolf. Well, he called with the best of it, but good fortune was not in the cards.
The 2010 World Series of Poker Europe is brought to you in part by WSOPAcademy.com. Learn online from the champs in an interactive poker school. And PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Welcome back. Ronald Lee just opened raised to 110,000 with pocket fours. Danny Steinberg with a suited ace-jack in the big blind, 3-bet to 285, so action back to Lee, the chip leader.
I go on.
And Lee raises, Steinberg all in.
Well, we've seen Steinberg make a couple of big laydowns at this final table. I don't know if he wants to call his entire stack off with ace-jack suited, but as it turns out, if he does, he's up against the best he can hope for. And actually, if Steinberg does fold right here, he'd be down to about 20 big blinds.
You guys should be happy, because I'm going to call, I think.
I'm going to call, I think? That sounds like a call.
I call.
He does call all in. And he does see he's up against the small pocket pair.
Actually, Steinberg looked disappointed he wasn't ahead.
The only reason I 3-bet for Ray is because he lifted his card.
So Steinberg suited ace-jack against Ronald Lee's pocket fours. The chip leader trying to get stronger.
Lee has quietly steamrolled his final table, now looking for another victim. What a huge coin flip this is.
Here it is now. Queen, 6-9. Lee's pocket fours stand tall through the flop. Can they hold up for 2 more streets?
Lee trying to pad his chip lead. If Steinberg gets lucky, he would become chip leader.
All right, now the turn card. Trey of hearts. That eliminates Steinberg's flush and straight possibilities.
Ronald Lee seems a bit bored with all the destruction he causes. Steinberg needs an ace or a jack or he's gone.
The river card is an 8 of clubs. Danny Steinberg comes up short. And he'll finish in 6th place at this final table.
Great run for the 22-year-old, the youngest player at the final table.
And Ronald Lee, already the chip leader, wins the biggest pot of this tournament so far. Lee knocks out Steinberg. He has knocked out every eliminated player so far at this championship table. So Lee cracking the 4 million chip barrier. He has 40% of the chips in play, but Baldessari and Board are just one double up through Lee away from stealing the lead. Natalie's with our 6th place finisher now.
No regrets about that call.
I mean, I had a tell on him that when he opened pre-flop that he was weak, so normally if I didn't have that tell, I would have just called ace-jack pre-flop, but I decided to 3-bet it, and I mean, basically, there's no way I was going to fold when I shoved. I had too little in my stack.
Describe the tell. What was the tell?
Basically, and this is for you at home, if someone lifts up their cards really high, it means they don't have something good, normally.
We enjoyed meeting your brother. Did he have a piece of you?
He did have a piece of me, and he should be happy with
How much?
He had 25%.
Beautiful. Nice. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Natalie. Over 830,000 British pounds for one of our 5 remaining players. That comes with the World Series of Poker Europe main event bracelet. DeWolf folded over to Nicholas Levi with pocket 9s. Second short stack with a raise to 135,000. Baldessari with 10-6.
Baldessari's been very quiet this final table.
Folded to Ronald Lee with king-queen.
Lee started this final table second in chips, and he has been in a take-no-prisoner state of mind.
He loves the re-raise, and that's exactly what he does as he re-raises Levi all in. He wants another knockout.
He's knocked out the first 4 players at this final table.
So now the heat on Levi.
With 20 big blinds left, I would think this is an almost automatic all-in call for him. We just saw Lee go all in with pocket 4s.
You pay how much? 5.
Levi wants a count on the short stack. Moving up a spot right now is worth 70,000 pounds.
I'm pretty good at flipping at the moment.
He's got Lee on the right type of hand, and if he's pretty good at flipping, he ought to call.
It's just on the edge. 1 pip, I snap. 1 more pip, I snap.
He says if it were pocket 10s, he would have called all in already.
Call.
Levi puts himself at risk, calling all in. The French pro ahead right now, but he has a lot of streets to worry about.
C'est chaud, hein?
Another big one with Ronald Lee involved. Levi will either be second in chips or out of here.
His pocket 9s against the king-queen. Here's the flop. 5-8-4 all hearts. Levi's pocket nine still the best hand. Ronald Lee with the queen of hearts and 2 overcards is now favored slightly.
I still think the hat should be in the pot.
Nicholas would happily put it in there if the board runs out all blanks. But the turn card is a king, and that pairs Ronald Lee. A crushing blow to Levi.
That's a tough one.
Ronald Lee on the verge of another knockout at this final table. Only the 9 of spades will save Nicholas Levi.
The river card is the 10 of spades. Nicholas Levi knocked out in 5th place by who else? Ronald Lee.
I'll miss the fedora. And boy, it seems like one fella has all the chips here.
Nicholas Levi wins over 208,000 pounds. Ronald Lee began the night in 2nd place, but immediately took the chip lead and never relinquished it. He holds almost 5.5 million chips, over half the chips in play, with just 4 players left. There may have been 9 players at the start of tonight's final table, but one stood way above the rest. Ronald Lee was an unstoppable force, knocking out 5 consecutive players, including 2 at one time.
How did I get it in with ace-queen? Just think it. Just think it.
Now, with half the chips in play, he is unquestionably the player to beat. Fabrizio Baldassari, James Board, and Roland DeWolf will try to keep Lee from doing the unthinkable, knocking out all 8 players. For Norman Chad and Natalie Pinkham, I'm Lon McCarran. The conclusion of this final table is next from London.